Hey, what's up, good people? How you doing? Go ahead, hit that like button. You guys know what to do already, okay? All right. And so if I say something that you do like, then hit the like button then. I just want to talk real quick here on this Saturday afternoon about how the market is making you bipolar. The market is making you bipolar because the market is bipolar. What do you mean by that, Larry? I mean that just look at some of the news stories, okay? Just look at some of the news stories from day to day. 22 hours ago, Dow jumped 600 points. See that? And then capping off one of its most volatile weeks, right? And then right before that, look at that. Stocks plunge as US China trade tension deepen, right? And so what I'm saying is it goes from one extreme to the next, right? And so here, Dow tumbles 1,000 points. Look at that. 2 days, Dow surges 2,900 points. See here? Look at that. Dow slides more than 300 points. All right. Then again, Dow drops 2,200 points. You guys get it. Dow tumbles 300 points. You know, it's just one of these things that it is news story after news story, and it is all because of Trump's tariff wars, okay? And we are in a trade war, full-blown trade war. And I will tell you this, Warren Buffett said it. Some of you guys didn't like it, but he knows what he's talking about. And he hit the nail dead on the head when he said it is an act of war. He said that before this happened. Now, we're going to talk a little stocks, mostly crypto on this one. And I just want you guys to know something. I just want to just point out something real easy to see. No technicals needed. It's just to challenge yourself from becoming bipolar. All right. Look, here's one of the news stories I want you guys. You got to be paying attention to the stuff that's going on while everything else is going on, the stuff that's not being talked about. I talked about this over a year ago. Tokenization of market from stocks to bonds to real estate is coming, says BlackRock CEO Larry Fink. All right, if we could solve this one problem. So, Larry Fink, if you go back about 3 years ago, he was anti-crypto, anti-Bitcoin. He was like J.P. Morgan called it funny money. Then he switched. Not only did he switch, but he started buying up all of the Bitcoin. Okay, so that's what he started doing. He switched hard and he put his money where his mouth is by buying up just as much as Bitcoin as you can think of. That's how much he's buying now. Okay. Not only is he buying Bitcoin and by the billions of dollars, but he's also buying what? The Bitcoin miners. They're one of the largest holders of all of the Bitcoin miners. This is BlackRock. BlackRock, the world's largest asset manager, 11.5 trillion. Okay, we've been through that before, right? So let's take a look at what's going on as it pertains to crypto. I want you to see here that the S&P over the last month, we see that Bitcoin is the blue chart. I'm sorry, S&P is blue, Bitcoin is yellow. And we could see that on huge move days, they are in lockstep, right? And then sometimes they uncorrelate, right? So here we had a slight fall here, okay? So Bitcoin falls slightly, but then S&P fell more April 1st, right? And then the pump up, we can see right here, S&P being the blue, Bitcoin being the yellow, that Bitcoin actually led, right? A lot of times, in a lot of circumstances, Bitcoin actually leads the market, unless you have something coming from the White House that is just so unplanned, just sporadic. Every single day, there's a news story coming from the White House. Get used to it. We had this before in the previous administration, when he was president before, meaning Donald Trump. Listen, let me tell you something. there's going to be a White House briefing like two a day. Just get ready for it, right? And this is just the way he operates his White House, okay? There's a news briefing every day. It's breaking news, and it affects the stock market. Remember in the good old days, say last year when it was the Fed that moved the market, now it's the president. So we have to pay attention to what's coming out of the White House because it's affecting our money. Back to the matter at hand. Look at this. Bitcoin now at 84, Ethereum. Let's look at the 24-day. Ethereum had the biggest move over the last day. And we can see Bitcoin at 1.6, but we have XRP now. XRP, that is really nothing because it got literally flattened last week. It just got wiped out. And I'm just talking about XRP. XRP market cap has fallen back under Tether. The question is like I've asked you with stocks, what do you plan on doing? So here's why I'm making this video today. And the video that I was going to make today, I'm going to make tomorrow. Okay, so let's look at this. This is a stacking of Bitcoin and XCN. Okay, all right, see that? Onyx, okay, Onyx coin. So I'm bringing this up right now because it has had a surge. XCN has had a surge. You see that? But what I want you guys to understand, now anything I say is not a suggestion for you to buy, hold, or sell. Onyx is a swing trade for me. A lot of people are trying to get rich and you're getting wrecked. But if you swing trade it correctly, there's a lot of money to be made. And it just has these traits. Okay, so here, when you see the run up, remember, Bitcoin is blue, Oxy, or I'll just say XCN, is yellow, as you can see here, right? Or should we say orange? Okay, so let's just go to a move. Any move, okay? Sometimes they lockstep, okay? But it's the falls that is really bad, okay? So as you can see, we have these run-ups. So it ran up here. This is how it reacts. And then it has a slow bleed. It falls. And it falls at a percentage way more than Bitcoin. So you could see here, Bitcoin fell in this time period, I'm on a monthly, by 2.90%. But XCN fell by 30%, right? And then, boom, it goes up by, look at that. Still, it ran up, but it goes from -30 to -12. So you could have made that difference, okay? And then what happens? It bleeds. What happens is a lot of people hold and it bleeds. Well, this is a great swing trade, okay? And then we had a pump up here. You see here? But now, here's what I want you to see. When crypto tanks and it takes the entire crypto market down, you can see crypto went down, right? 4.72%, let's just say 5%. XCN went down 34%, right? So here's my point on being bipolar. This is where we don't want to touch it. This is the only time I buy XCN. I buy it when it dips, okay? And then I'll continue, sometimes in here, I'll continue the dollar cost average. Now, my dollar cost average in XCN is very, 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 very low, okay? And I let it pile up while the market is going down, okay? But when we have pops like this, look at that. Look at that. So, again, Bitcoin, let's call that 5%. XCN up 108%. And like I told people in money moves, you move your stop loss up because there's a bleed off coming, right? And so what happened after this day? You can see this, right? You see this. 4/11 at 1 o'clock. What happens? Boom. Bleed off. Big bleed off. 50% of the wins has gone. You can see that, right? XCN up 107%. Boom. Now down. Look at that, by 51%. So it lost half, right? But let's look at what Bitcoin did in that time frame. Bitcoin is at 3.51%. Bitcoin actually went up why XCN is going down. Okay, so buy XCN. I buy XCN when it gets beat down, and I dollar cost average on down, and then I wait for the next pop, and then I move my stop loss up. I don't sell it. I move my stop loss up. So when we were here, I was telling people in Money Moves is I said, hey, look, guys, this is where you want to set a stop loss and leave a little room. Sometimes I'll leave 10% and you set a stop loss because you're in profit. Okay. So I know a lot of people are going to try to get rich and dump big money into XCN. And I'm just telling you, it's a seesaw ride. Okay. So when it gets absolutely just beat down is when I buy. All right. So let's look at, I wasn't going to cover this. Let's look at Baby Bunk. We haven't talked about it in a little while, right? Because it's been so much happening in the stock market. We could see over the last month, it's actually up. Look at that. And I still have some positions in Bunk. It's up 31%, all right? But it's been getting beat down, good people. Let's keep it for real. It's been getting beat down after the spike up. I was here. You guys remember last summer when we was up, and we was celebrating these gains, and now it's come all the way down. Well, what I think is going to happen is I think we can get back to these tops. And what I'm doing is I'm dollar cost averaging pennies right now as we speak, very small amounts into Bunk. Okay. Now I had a stop loss set and it triggered and it sold a lot, but I had my stop loss set in profit. So it sold a lot, though I lost a lot of profit. At some point I set a stop loss. I let everybody in Money Moves know. And so now I'm DCAing back in because I don't believe that the run is over. I simply don't. And then let's look at XRP. XRP is down. And it is down over the last month. Look at over the last 7 days. Look at that. Flat. So we had all of this. And here's where we get bipolar again. Nobody's touching it down here. I know some of you guys are. We don't want to touch it. No, I'm not touching that. Look at that. It's $1.69. And so if you had put money in here, right, on 4 or 5 and just walked away and came back, your money's the same. Okay. Over the last day, let's look. We're up, let's call that 5%. But over the month, we're grossly down. So what do we see here? Just in a monthly chart. What we see here is that I know I can put a buy order at $1.75 and I can just wait for this to come down. Okay. This is the way I think. Now I know some of you are going, I'm not going to risk that. What happens if the market is falling? Well, if you think we're still in a bull run as it pertains to crypto, which I think we still have a lot north to go if we don't go into a recession. Now, I want you guys to hear that. I said if we don't go into a hard-on recession. And I'm with the CEO, Jamie Dimon. We already in a recession, right? It's a rolling recession. We're in a recession. And I just want you guys to notice about recessions as it pertains to the market, not crypto, but stock market. Stock market bottoms out. And sometimes it even is nearing the bottom before you even find out you're in a recession. And at some point, you just needed to be buying and holding. Now, here's what I would also suggest, that you don't put all your money in. Because just when you think it's going to bottom, it is the bottom, it drops down even lower. And then you put your money in and it drops down even lower. So while we're under the bar, let's just say this is the bar, and let's say the S&P is down by 12, 13%. Okay. So I'm okay buying here. Okay. And if you're long, you should be okay buying here. Okay. Because eventually we're going to regain that 12%. You understand what I'm saying? Before we continue higher. How long? I don't know, because everything that's coming out of the White House is moving the markets and it's volatile. And I don't care how much fundamental study any of us do, and I don't care how many lines we strike on on technicals. anything that comes out of the White House will move the market. So it is extremely important for you guys to watch every single video. Speaking of, hey, we are learning a lot with my Options for Dummies class. For those of you, we've had a lot of people join, and I will leave a pinned comment. My comment, I'm going to pin to the top, okay? And in that comment, I'm going to have a link, and that link will be to Money Moves. This is not Stock Up You. This is different. This is my version of a Patreon. We do talk about crypto. I give you market updates. We make money. I show you portfolios to set up for long-term generational gain. And what we just started last week, you are welcome to join us. And that is Options for Dummies, okay? And that's my Options for Dummies class. If you're new and you get into the room, just look for the tab that says Options for Dummies. And we want to take a generation of people on this journey, and anyone, just read the comments of my pinned comment. It is easy to understand. And that's what this market was not. It was missing. A lot of these classes talk above your head. Well, my theory is talk to me like I'm 3. And if you want to learn how to match your income, there's going to be some people that are going to be doubling their income, meaning they'll be at work and still doing options and just matching what they make weekly, monthly. Wouldn't that be cool if you could have a job and still make money? Well, there's ways of doing it, and there's plenty of people that are doing it, and we want to help you get to that point, okay? So I want to explain it. It's up to you to execute your disciplines, okay? So we only have 3 classes up. Come and join it today, less than $1 a day. We'll see you tomorrow. Live, love, laugh, and learn, and pray for these allergies, man. They're jacking a brother up. But make sure that you go into the description to find Money Moves, and I'm going to leave a pinned comment. All right? We'll see you guys later. Live, love, laugh, and learn.